Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share the incredible journey of Sylvie and Tina, two orphaned wombats who were found alone and helpless in the harsh wilderness of Canberra. Sylvie, just a tiny bundle barely the size of a hand, needed constant care to survive, and Tina wasn't far behind. But what if I told you that these two vulnerable wombats didn't just survive? They formed a bond that would change their lives forever and touch the hearts of everyone who cared for them. Stay with us, and animals need love as we take you through this touching story. In the heart of Canberra, Australia, where the winters can be harsh and unforgiving, two wombats named Sylvie and Tina have captured the hearts of their carers and the wildlife community. Raised by Sharon and Lindy from ACT Wildlife, these two resilient wombats have undergone a remarkable transformation. Sylvie's story began in the most fragile of circumstances. Rescued from her mother's pouch by Allison, Sylvie was found weighing just 380 grams, far too small and underdeveloped to survive without help. The wombat, though seemingly lost in the world, had one thing in her favor: a strong will to live. After her rescue, Sylvie went straight into the loving care of Lindy, a seasoned wombat carer. Lindy's tender care helped nurse Sylvie through a series of early challenges, including serious gastric problems that threatened her survival. Without the constant attention and nurturing, Sylvie wouldn't have made it through those first crucial days. Later, when Sylvie was 1 kilogram heavier and ready for the next step in her healing, she went to see Sharon. Sharon remembers Sylvie's attitude, mischief, and energy as a hoot from the beginning. From the very beginning, Sylvie had an infectious spirit. She was playful, curious, and always ready to entertain. Whether it was her zooming runs around the house or dramatic rollovers, Sylvie brought joy to everyone around her. Despite the challenges she faced early on, Sylvie's vibrant personality made her unforgettable. Though she had a rough start, Sylvie's resilience shone through. Sharon's care gave Sylvie the chance to grow and flourish into the energetic, lovable wombat that she would become. Little did anyone know, this was only the beginning of a beautiful and life-changing journey for both Sylvie and her new family. While Sylvie's journey had already begun, the arrival of Tina marked a new chapter in the story. Tina was found in a very different condition, suffering from mange, a parasitic skin disease that had left her in poor health. Thankfully, Tina was brought into Lindy's care, where she was treated and eventually healed. After recovering, Tina came to Sharon weighing 5 kilograms, much larger than Sylvie had been at the time of her arrival, but still young and in need of care and attention. From the very beginning, Tina had a determined, no-nonsense personality. Unlike Sylvie, who was immediately playful and curious, Tina was more serious, focused on the business of eating, sleeping, and of course, pooping. Sharon remembers that Tina was a no-frills kind of wombat, always focused on getting the job done. But despite their differences, Tina quickly formed a bond with Sylvie, even though Sylvie was initially nervous and confused by the presence of another wombat. Having never seen another wombat before, Sylvie was freaked out by Tina at first, while Tina was eager to become her friend. It took a little time, but the two slowly grew accustomed to each other, and their bond deepened. Before long, Tina and Sylvie became inseparable, with Sharon affectionately referring to them as the Velcro sisters. Their personalities remained distinct, but they developed a shared rhythm and connection that made them truly a pair. Sylvie became known for her exuberant show-off antics. She was always putting on a performance, racing around the yard, and diving into her rollovers with enthusiasm. She seemed to have a sense of the spotlight, drawing attention wherever she went. Her playful nature never dimmed, and her high-energy spirit filled the room. Whether it was sprinting across the yard or engaging in what Sharon called zoomies, mad dashes around the house, Sylvie's antics were a constant source of joy for Sharon and Lindy. Tina, on the other hand, was the calm counterpart to Sylvie's theatricality. Her focus was on the more wombat-like tasks: grazing, eating, sleeping, and settling into her burrow. Tina had a serious side that made her appear somewhat more mature than Sylvie, and at times it seemed like Tina was silently rolling her eyes at her friend's energetic performances. But despite their differences, the two had a deep connection. Wherever one went, the other was sure to follow. Tina and Sylvie did everything together: eating, sleeping, and even digging burrows in the yard. It was clear that they had become an inseparable pair. Sharon remembers how happy she was to see them grow up together. It was hard to get them to join at first, but once they did, there was no stopping them. Tina and Sylvie were always there for each other, whether they needed to hug or help each other figure out how to be more independent. They formed a beautiful bond that got stronger over time. In many ways, the two wombats were like two halves of a whole. They each helped the other in their own way. Sharon and Lindy took a lot of time to care for the wombats in their early years. They fed them grass every day, bathed them, and fed them bottles. During the cold winters, they kept them warm. In Canberra, winters, with your warm dressing gown on and your gumboots and a torch on, or you read a book or something for 2 hours, umbrella up if it's raining, or while they just graze because they have to have that time for their health and development. We'd go outside during the day when it was warmer, and then at the end of winter, they went outside permanently. The personalities of Sylvie and Tina were coming through more and more each day. Sharon knew that their relationship was truly special, even though they were having problems. She also knew that it was only a matter of time before they were ready for the next part of their trip. As Sylvie and Tina matured, it became clear just how intelligent wombats really are. Sharon and Lindy were continually surprised by their cleverness and problem-solving abilities. Wombats are highly intelligent animals, and Sylvie and Tina were no exception. They quickly figured out how to navigate their environment, learning to dig burrows and find their way around their enclosures with ease. It's different when they're just calling, Mum, where are you two? The really desperate mum, I need you right now. Especially when there's little babies in the house, if you go into the next room and it becomes almost like a little shriek, and that's like, Mum, where have you gone? The wombats also displayed mischievous behavior that would often leave Sharon laughing. If the fridge door was left open, Sylvie and Tina wouldn't bother eating the food inside. Instead, they would pull everything out, scattering it around the floor in a playful mess. They know how to get it. They're just fascinated by spaces. If you leave the fridge door open, they don't eat the food, but they just pull everything out. They were constantly exploring, trying to understand their surroundings and pushing the boundaries of what they could get into. Sharon recalls one instance when the wombats discovered the joys of the laundry, happily pulling laundry baskets over and investigating every corner of the room. As they get older, they start to separate from you, and this is going to be harder with these two because they are just so loving and so adorable. Over the months, Sylvie and Tina got healthy and stronger, growing into big chubby wombats that were ready to go back to the wild. By July, it was clear that the time for their release had arrived. The release was bittersweet, especially for Sharon, who had spent so much time with the girls, raising them from their fragile beginnings to this moment of independence. The release process was well thought out. Allison, the person who took Sylvie from her mother's pouch, was told to take her to the release spot. Suitably, Allison was the one to take Sylvie to her new home, since she had saved her life. After the girls got to the release site, Tina went right into the burrow to get settled. She took things slowly and carefully, but Sylvie followed at her own speed. While Sharon was proud of the girls, she was also nervous. It was clear to her that the wombats were ready, but the wild was a huge place with lots of unknowns. For the best chance of success, the release spot was carefully checked to make sure there were no empty burrows and everything was safe. At the release spot, cameras were set up so Sharon could keep an eye on the wombats from afar. Along the way, Sharon could keep an eye on the wombats at their new home thanks to the cameras at the release spot. Even though it made Sharon happy to see that they were both doing well, she couldn't help but feel a little sad as she watched them start their new lives without her. Tina had already moved to a nearby cave, which the cameras showed. This showed that she was becoming more independent and sure of herself in her new home. Sylvie, on the other hand, stayed in her original hole and eased into life in the wild slowly. Even though they were excited to be free, the last goodbye was sad. Sharon had seen these wombats change from small, weak animals to strong, wild ones. Taking care of them and seeing them grow and change had been a pleasure, but now it was time for them to go live their own life. Sharon knew it was the right thing to do, even though it was hard. She hoped that Sylvie and Tina would do well in the wild and make their own lives in the lovely nature they had been brought back to. Sharon would always remember the trip they took together, including the late-night feedings, cuddles, fun, and laughs, even if the wombats didn't need her help anymore. They fell in love, learned a lot, and got to see two amazing animals become who they really are. In her heart, Sharon hoped that they would have the happiest and craziest lives in their new home's beautiful surroundings. We don't know what the future holds when they go back to the bush, but we've at least given them the chance to go out there and be part of that environment that they're supposed to be part of. That's the end of the story today. What was your favorite part of Sylvie and Tina's journey? Have you ever experienced the joy of caring for an animal in need? Share your thoughts and stories with us in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you find our video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Finally, don't forget to turn on our bell and subscribe to our channel Animals Need Love so you don't miss any of our new videos. Thank you for your support. Wishing you all peace, happiness, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.